Welcome to the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. Today we are taking a deep dive into a topic that I think we can all relate to. You know, those frustrating roadblocks that we hit on the way to achieving our goals. You set a big goal,
Big audacious goals.
right? And then bam, life throws a wrench in the works, right?
It happens all the time. Yep.
I think the thing I really appreciated about the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu is it doesn't just identify the obstacles, it really digs into their impact.
Right.
So we are going to explore 10 of these roadblocks today.
Sound good.
Sounds great. Let's jump right in.
Okay. The first one is doing too much.
Yeah.
Now, Thu's argument is that trying to juggle a million things at once actually makes us less productive, not more.
Right. And
Have you ever felt that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah.
It's like trying to run in 10 different directions at the same time.
That's exactly it.
You end up going nowhere fast.
So we're fast. Yep.
And Nathu connects this to the concept of decision fatigue.
Where every decision we make, big or small, drains our mental energy.
It's not just about feeling overwhelmed. It's about impacting our ability to think clearly and make good choices.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So prioritizing becomes so crucial. We need to be strategic about what we focus on.
Right.
And learn to say no to things that drain our energy and don't align with our goals.
I love that. Say no.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next challenge.
Okay.
Which I think I suspect is a universal struggle, procrastination.
Yeah.
What does the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu have to say about this?
Well, he points out that procrastination isn't just laziness, right?
Yeah.
It's often rooted in deeper emotions like fear of failure or anxiety.
Oh.
He uses this great analogy of activation energy, the initial effort required to start a task. And he argues that procrastination actually increases this activation energy over time.
So the longer we put something off, the harder it becomes to start.
That's like a snowball effect.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
So what's the solution?
Well, the key is to break those daunting tasks
Okay.
into smaller, more manageable steps.
Small steps.
Yeah, so we can reduce that initial activation energy
Okay.
and make it easier to overcome that inertia and get moving.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a challenge that's especially relevant, I think, in our digital age, which is distractions.
Right.
It feels like we're constantly bombarded with information,
Constantly.
notifications, emails, social media.
It's a battle.
Yeah.
It really is.
So what does the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu say about this?
Well, Nathu highlights how these distractions hijack our attention
Okay.
and make it difficult to achieve what he calls flow state.
I've heard of flow state, but can you remind us what that is?
Yeah, so it's that state of being completely absorbed in a task
Right.
where time seems to fly by and you're incredibly productive,
Uh-huh.
but distractions completely shatter that flow, making it hard to get anything meaningful done.
Have you ever been like laser focused on a project and then ping, another notification,
Oh, yeah.
and it's gone?
It's gone, yeah.
Takes forever to get back.
It takes a lot of time and energy to get back into that flow state.
So what does Nathu recommend we do about it?
Well, he offers some practical strategies like the Pomodoro technique. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, where you work in focused bursts with short breaks and time blocking, where you schedule specific times for certain tasks.
Really setting boundaries.
Exactly. It's about being proactive and taking control of our time and attention.
I love that, rather than letting distractions dictate our day.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to challenge number 4, perfectionism.
Yeah.
Now, striving for excellence is a good thing, right?
Yes.
But I think we all know that perfectionism can be a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. And Nathu cleverly reframes perfectionism as a fear of failure in disguise.
Okay.
It's about getting so caught up in the details that we never actually finish anything.
It's like analysis paralysis, right?
Totally.
I had a friend who was working on this photography project, and she was so obsessed with getting every single shot perfect.
Right.
She never put together her portfolio.
Classic example.
Yeah.
Classic example of perfectionism backfiring.
It is?
The key is to focus on progress over perfection.
Right.
Done is better than perfect.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is a challenge that I think we've all faced at some point, which is lack of clarity.
Yeah.
It's like trying to navigate a maze without a map.
It can be so frustrating.
Right.
The 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu stresses the importance of having clear, well-defined goals.
Okay.
He introduces the concept of SMART goals.
I love SMART goals.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, it's not enough to just have this vague sense of what we want to achieve.
No.
We need to know exactly where we're going and how we're going to get there.
You gotta have the roadmap.
That's the roadmap.
Exactly.
Okay, when we have that clarity, then we can actually take action.
Yeah, much easier.
All right, this is a good time to pause and reflect for our listeners.
Yeah.
Think about a goal that you're currently working towards.
Mm-hmm.
Does it meet those SMART criteria? If not, maybe it's time to revisit and refine it.
Yeah, good time for that.
Okay, let's move on and talk about a challenge that can be incredibly insidious: self-doubt.
Ooh, yeah.
It's those nagging voices in our heads, right?
Always there.
Telling us we're not good enough, we're going to fail, everyone's going to laugh at us.
So crippling.
It can be so crippling.
Yeah.
So, what does the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu suggest we do about it?
Well, Nathu emphasizes the importance of challenging those negative thoughts,
Okay.
replacing them with positive affirmations.
Okay.
We need to celebrate our wins, no matter how small they seem.
Even the small wins.
Absolutely.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in what we haven't accomplished.
Right.
And we forget how far we've come.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to a challenge that I think is especially prevalent in our hyper-connected world. Fear of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like everyone's watching, waiting to criticize, especially online,
Oh, for sure.
right? So what does Nathu have to say about this?
Well, he reframes this fear as a potential opportunity for growth.
Okay.
He argues that vulnerability is often the key to connection and innovation.
So it's not about avoiding judgment, it's about learning to navigate it
Exactly.
and not letting it hold us back.
Right.
What are some of the tips from the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu on how to do that?
He talks about seeking feedback from trusted sources
Okay.
and focusing on the intrinsic value of the work itself rather than external validation.
Doing it for the love of it, not for the likes or the praise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a challenge that I think is particularly relevant in our always-on, decision-saturated world: decision fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
My brain is just fried by the end of the day for making so many choices.
I hear ya.
What does Nathu say about that?
Well, he explains how this constant decision-making, even about seemingly small things,
Right.
depletes our mental energy, leading to poor choices or even inaction.
It's impacting our ability to make good decisions.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are some of the solutions or suggestions from the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu?
Well, he offers really practical tips, like creating routines,
Okay.
streamlining our wardrobes,
I love that.
meal prepping, anything that minimizes those low-stakes decisions throughout the day.
So that we can save our energy,
Exactly.
right, for the big decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, we're making great progress.
Yes.
Let's talk about challenge number 9, prioritization.
Right.
We all have limited time, limited energy.
We do.
So knowing what to focus on is crucial.
So important.
What insights does the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu offer on this?
Well, he connects prioritization to the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Which suggests that 80% of our results come from 20% of our efforts.
So we need to figure out what that 20% is.
Exactly. Identify those high-impact activities
Right.
and make them our top priority.
Makes sense. He also, I think, in the book, introduces the Eisenhower matrix, right?
He does.
As a tool
Yeah, it's a great tool.
for figuring out what's urgent, what's important, and what can wait.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, and we've arrived at the final challenge, but certainly not the least: consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I know I personally struggle with this. Like, I can get really excited about a new goal,
Yeah.
but then maintaining that momentum over time, it could be so tough.
Consistency is definitely key.
It is.
And Nathu drives this point home in the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. He emphasizes that consistent effort,
Okay.
even in small increments, is what ultimately leads to significant results over time.
Right.
He uses this great analogy of the compounding effect of interest,
Like, small, consistent investments can grow over time.
Exactly.
Like that.
Just the same principle with goals.
Right.
Those small, consistent actions, day after day, eventually add up to remarkable achievements.
Yeah, it's like building a muscle. You don't get ripped by going to the gym once.
You got to keep going.
You got to keep going. You got to put in the work, even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. And Nathu reminds us that progress isn't always linear.
Yeah,
There will be setbacks and challenges along the way.
of course.
But the key is to stay committed to the process
Okay.
and keep moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time.
I love that.
Yeah,
What an encouraging message.
it is.
We've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored 10 common roadblocks to achieving goals, as outlined in the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu.
We did.
But we're not stopping there. In our next segment, we're going to delve into some specific strategies and tools for overcoming these challenges and setting ourselves up for success. So stick around.
Looking forward to it. What I find so valuable about the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu is that it doesn't just present these challenges and then leave us hanging.
Right. Like, here's all your problems. Good luck.
Exactly. Like, good luck, figure it out.
Yeah. No, he gives us some actual strategies and tools
You does.
to actually overcome these roadblocks.
Yeah, that's what we're going to dive into in this segment. We've talked about the what. Now let's talk about the how.
The how. Okay, so where should we start?
Well, Nathu places a strong emphasis on self-awareness.
Okay.
Sounds simple, but how many of us actually take the time to understand our own patterns of behavior,
Right.
our triggers, our unique ways of procrastinating or getting distracted?
It's like that old saying, know thyself.
Right.
Right? We need to understand ourselves before we can actually change ourselves.
Exactly. And once we have that self-awareness,
Okay.
the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu provides this toolkit of strategies. We've already touched on a few, like the Pomodoro technique for managing distractions, the Eisenhower matrix for prioritization.
But he doesn't stop there.
Not at all.
No.
He talks about the power of visualization, setting up accountability systems, even rewarding ourselves for progress.
I love the idea of rewards
Me too.
because it's so easy to get caught up in the grind of pursuing a goal that you forget to celebrate those little wins along the way.
I agree, but I wonder if relying too heavily on external rewards could become a crutch. What are your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting point. I think it's about finding a balance. External rewards can be motivating in the short term,
Yeah.
but ultimately the most sustainable motivation comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
It's about connecting to the deeper why behind our goals.
And he talks about that as well, doesn't he? The importance of having a strong emotional connection to our goals.
He does. He compares it to setting goals, like embarking on a journey. Like, if you don't know where you're going or why you're going there,
Right.
how are you going to stay motivated when things get tough?
You need that internal compass
You need that compass.
that guides us, right? Even when we encounter obstacles,
Right.
detours.
Totally. And speaking of journeys, he talks about the importance of having a clear roadmap,
Yeah.
a strategic plan for reaching our destination. It's about breaking down those big, audacious goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
I love that analogy. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't just teleport to the top, you take it one step at a time, one base camp at a time.
Love it. Okay, so we've got self-awareness, a clear why, a strategic plan. What else does the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu emphasize?
Well, he dedicates a significant portion to this concept of personal management.
Okay.
It's about developing the habits and mindsets that support success.
So this is where we move beyond just understanding the challenges and we actually start building those mental muscles.
Exactly. It's about cultivating focus, discipline, resilience,
Right.
those qualities that help us stay on track, even when faced with distractions, setbacks, or even our own self-doubt.
So what are some of the strategies that he offers for boosting those essential qualities?
He talks a lot about the importance of mindfulness.
Okay.
Being present in the moment, aware of our thoughts and feelings, helps us catch ourselves when we're starting to get distracted or fall into negative thinking patterns.
It's like hitting the pause button
Yes,
before we spiral down that rabbit hole of procrastination.
exactly. He also emphasizes the power of routine. Having a set schedule for waking up, working out, eating, even winding down at night can create structure
Okay.
and minimize decision fatigue, freeing up mental energy for the more important things.
I love that.
And then there's the importance of self-care.
Of course.
Getting enough sleep, eating nutritious foods, moving our bodies, connecting with loved ones.
Yeah.
These aren't just luxuries, they're essential
Mhm.
for maintaining motivation and resilience.
It's like trying to run a marathon without fueling your body properly or resting when you need to.
Exactly.
You might make it to the finish line, but you're going to be completely depleted.
Yeah, same applies to achieving any goal. We need to take care of ourselves so we have the energy and stamina to keep going.
That's a great analogy. And speaking of stamina, Nathu dedicates an entire section of the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu to building resilience.
He does.
That
Yeah.
ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep going even when things get tough.
Right, because setbacks are inevitable, it's not about avoiding them. It's about learning to navigate them and come out stronger on the other side.
Okay.
He compares it to a muscle that gets stronger with each challenge.
The more we face and overcome obstacles,
Yeah.
the more resilient we become.
Mm-hmm.
And that resilience is what allows us to achieve those big, ambitious goals that once seemed impossible.
Right. He also talks about the importance of having a growth mindset.
Okay.
That's the belief that our abilities and intelligence aren't fixed, but can be developed through effort and learning.
So it's about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than seeing them as failures?
Exactly. And when we have that growth mindset, we're more likely to take risks, experiment, and learn from our mistakes, all of which are essential ingredients for success.
One thing that really struck me in the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu was his emphasis on the power of belief.
Yeah.
He says that if we truly believe in ourselves and our ability to achieve something, we're far more likely to make it happen.
It's about shifting our internal dialogue
Right.
from I can't to I can, from I'm not good enough to I am capable.
So powerful.
Then when we start believing in ourselves, it changes everything.
It's like that famous quote from Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
All right.
Our beliefs shape our reality.
They do. And the beautiful thing is, beliefs can be changed.
Yes.
With conscious effort and practice, we can start to cultivate more empowering beliefs that support our goals and aspirations.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what does this all mean for our listeners?
Yeah.
What are some practical takeaways they can implement in their own lives?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's about recognizing that achieving goals isn't just about willpower or motivation. It's about having the right strategies and tools in place. And the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu provides a wealth of those, from the Pomodoro technique to the Eisenhower matrix to the power of visualization and self-care.
It's also about understanding that setbacks are a natural part of the process.
Yeah.
Don't let them derail you. Embrace them as opportunities for learning and growth.
Agree.
And remember, we don't have to do this alone.
That's so true. And that actually brings to mind something else that really resonated with me from the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, which is the power of connection and support.
Yeah.
You know, Nathu really emphasizes that we're not meant to achieve our goals in isolation.
We're not. We need our tribe,
We need our tribe,
our team,
our team.
to support us.
Right, because even with the best strategies
Right.
and the most empowering beliefs, there are times when we just need that extra boost.
Absolutely.
You know, we need someone to remind us of our why or to help us get back on track when we stumble.
Someone to pick us up when we fall.
Yeah, he uses this great analogy, I think it's rock climbing,
Yeah, climbing kid.
of a climbing team,
Yeah.
and how each member brings their own unique strengths and skills. And they rely on each other for support, encouragement, accountability.
Absolutely.
And when one person falters, the others are there to lift them up.
It's a powerful image. It is, and it really just highlights how important it is to have those people in our corner cheering us on,
Cheering us up.
reminding us we're not alone in this journey.
We're not.
So how do we find those people if we don't already have them?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as reaching out to a friend or a family member,
Right.
joining a group or community that aligns with your interests, or even hiring a coach or a mentor.
Right. The key is to be intentional about it.
Yeah, be proactive and intentional about building those connections.
Absolutely. And we need to remember that we're wired for connection.
Mm-hmm.
We thrive in community.
We do.
And that support network can really make all the difference when we're facing those inevitable challenges like we talked about
Yeah.
on the path to achieving our goals.
It's like having a safety net, you know?
It is.
Knowing that you have people you can turn to
Right.
for advice, encouragement, or even just a listening ear that can give you the confidence to take risks, push yourself outside your comfort zone.
So true. And speaking of pushing ourselves, I want to circle back to what we discussed earlier about the importance of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Nathu encourages us to regularly reflect on our progress, celebrate our wins, and identify any areas where we might be getting stuck.
It's an ongoing process.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-time thing.
Not at all.
There's going to be bumps in the road, detours, unexpected
But
challenges.
we will be.
But as long as we stay committed to the journey and keep learning and growing along the way, we're ultimately headed in the right direction.
We are. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Love that.
Right. It's okay to adjust our course along the way as long as we keep our eyes on the prize.
I like that. And that brings us to, I think, another important point that Nathu makes in the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu, which is embracing failure as a part of the learning process.
Yes.
I know we touched on this a bit earlier, but I think it's worth emphasizing.
It is.
So many of us are so afraid to fail that we don't even try. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone.
It is. Every successful person has faced setbacks and failures along the way.
Absolutely.
The difference is that they didn't let those failures define them. They learned from them, they adapted, they kept going.
And that's what we need to do as well. Embrace those failures as opportunities for growth, learn from them, adjust our approach, and keep moving forward.
Keep moving. Ask for help if you need it.
Yes, it's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Whether it's from a friend, a mentor, a coach, a therapist, don't be afraid to reach out for support when you need it.
It's there.
It is there, and that's truly empowering.
It is.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the 1-Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. We explored 10 common challenges to achieving goals, unpacked some powerful strategies for overcoming them.
We did.
But the real work begins now.
It does. Time to take action.
Time to take action. Put these insights into practice.
Yeah. Find what works best for you.
Experiment, iterate. And remember, you've got this. Thank you for joining us today.
It was a pleasure.
Visit the 1-Hour Guide website for more business insights by Anil Nathu.